Good day and welcome to The Couch Coach. I'm your host, Fazil Jacobs. Unfortunately today, my co-host Irfan Abrams is not available to join us, but we have a suitable replacement in someone who has just been crowned the oldest batsman in the A1 Cricket League here in the Western Cape. He comes with a long pedigree of game time, having played with the likes of Vincent Barnes, Rory Kleinveld, as well as JP Duminy, who's over on tour right now. So welcome to the show, Munier Holliday.
Hey, how's it, man? Good to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us, especially on such short notice.
Yeah, no, cool, thanks.
So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. I know it's something that Fani likes to avoid, but this Chockers Tag on the SA squad, considering the first game, you know, we can almost forgive them for losing to England. But I think the manner in which they lost, and then the sensational way they collapsed yesterday against Bangladesh.
Yeah, no, it's obviously everyone's going to be talking about the Chockers Tag again. I don't know, you know, I don't personally think it's that much of an issue. I think they should have been prepared, you know, and they had enough time to prepare for the World Cup. I think they just really underperformed. It's been disappointing. How much
of it do you think is a fact of taking for granted, it's Bangladesh? I know when I closed out on the show last week, it was a case of, okay, so we should win against Bangladesh. And how much do you think that played a role?
Yeah, I think if you look at the format this year, it's like a league format. Everyone plays against everyone. So before the tournament, you're going to have to look at look, yeah, this is a win, this is a win, this is a win, you know, without being too arrogant, but you have to back yourself against against those teams. And I'm sure Bangladesh was one of the teams that they banked a win on.
Okay.
And I think maybe we're not actually giving, everyone's saying how poorly we performed, but maybe we're not actually giving Bangladesh the credit. They actually rocked up and played really well.
They played an awesome game. I mean, scoring more runs against us than what England did on the same pitch, with pretty much the same bowling attack. Granted, we lost Ngidi there. What's your thoughts on that loss?
Yeah, I think I think it's the toss was crucial, and I think Ngidi, Faf did afterwards admit to making a mistake there, but his justification was that they had this whole four-prong pace attack or whatever the case would be. They added Morris, they got Ngidi, Rabada, and I think they were expecting to blow them away like on a fresh pitch, and clearly that wasn't the right. You know, for me the wicket's a good wicket to win the toss in an ODI. You bat, you know, put the pressure on, and which is exactly what they did. They scored 300, and then the pressure was completely on our batsmen.
There's a lot of talk looking at the papers, the online reports, feedback, and watching the game itself. I mean, SA just looked flat. They didn't look like that team. Speak under correction, I read somewhere something like 19 runs were leaked in the field, which is
unlike SA.
It's unlike SA, and it was 17 against England. So yeah,
it's difficult to put like I said again, I'm sure they put the training in, and I'm sure they've focused on whatever they need to do, and I'm sure they've didn't do anything different, you know. I mean, they're a top fielding side, they set high standards for themselves. It's difficult to explain what actually happened, but like I said, I think we have to, it's a World Cup, all the teams are stepping up. There's no, you know, I think as we're speaking, Pakistan is busy scoring 350 against England. So
after getting hammered, by the West Indies.
Especially like again coming back to this format, it's one group, and I think the most consistent, or the four most consistent teams are gonna end up in the knockouts, and it's about that. It's about consistency, you know, not performing one day.
What do you think the chances of South Africa still making it to the semis?
Look, we're not out of it. We lost 2 games. We can still pull it back. It's going to take a hell of an effort. Probably the same effort of Liverpool beating Barca from 3-0 back. But it just shows, you know, Salah was wearing that T-shirt, never give up. And I think that's the attitude that our guys have to have now going forward. They lost to two good teams, I think. Bangladesh is a good team.
Oh, no, not forgetting at the last World Cup they did skittle England as well.
They knocked England out, and they're improving all the time, you know, especially on the batting side.
Now this is their second win against SA, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're trying not to remember that stuff.
From a coach's point of view, and being I mean, if I remember correctly, you played the Western Province and SA schools.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
As an opening bat. As a coach, what would your message be to your batsmen going in and preparing, because there's a big one coming up now? I think it's.
Yeah, I think for me, and I think what went wrong in the Bangladesh game is, I think the mindset chasing that 330. You know, it's like often even they say like small totals are more difficult to chase than a big total, because like remind you of that 4-3-8 game and all that. Sometimes, you know, like the West Indies plays, for example, you know, there's a saying that if you've got nothing to lose, you can win anything. And I think he must just basically, you know, reassure the batsman, you know, go out there, play your game. Don't be scared to come out, play your game, express yourself. You're in the team there because you are the best that we have in your position. Go out there, play your game, you know. The guy like David Miller, you know, he's always expectancy when he comes in, you know, but he always doesn't seem to step up when he's under pressure. For me, that says it's like a mental thing, you know. Anyone can score runs when you got no pressure on you, and there's a big score on already. You can play shots. So it's about getting, you know, it's about expressing yourself, you know, just playing to your strengths, you know. Once you start worrying about this and that and the scoreboard pressure, and then you start playing, you start feeling, and it's all about pressure.
Yeah, absorbing that pressure.
Yeah.
But now speaking of pressure, and somebody who's definitely feeling it, I mean, he got clapped all over the place yesterday. It was Omardis. And I know he's not the most... Yeah. Look, he definitely brings something to a game. He's either gonna make you the happiest man on earth, or he's gonna break your heart. Yeah. But now the pressure on him, and Gide's not gonna be there for I think it's 10 days.
I don't know
before he can play again. Yeah. That's what reports are saying. Dale Steyn there's still a question mark around him. Although it was good to see him bowling after the game out in the middle. Which is promising, especially considering India on Wednesday it is. What is your message to Morris?
Yeah, I know you're a big Morris fan.
Look, I love it.
Look,
I love him.
He's got the X factor.
He's got it.
But I think that's my point, and same with David Miller. Guys you want in your team, but these guys that really, when the chips are down, they must do what they're there for. You know, I mean, he got bowled a low full toss yesterday. Held out there to a guy on the boundary. That ball he must shoot into the crowd, and that's the bottom line. It's a World Cup. You're there for a reason, and you've got to produce the goods.
You mentioned something interesting there. The boundary, hitting it straight to Okat on the boundary.
Yeah.
I think England don't know where centre is on the cricket field. So you got your odd-sized distances from pitch to boundary. How big of a deal is that?
I think as a player, as a fielding team, knowing which side to play your spinners. If you got an offie bowling to a right-hander, you want him to hit cow corner as far as possible. And similarly, if you're a batsman, you got to be talking to each other. You got to be looking, check here, we're targeting this side. You know, it's like us at club cricketers. We're looking which side the wind's blowing, and we want to attack with the wind. You know, it's just a matter of you got to take those things into account. You know, it's even down to which fielders you can take on. You know, left hand or right hand. It's all about awareness and those the ground size definitely matters. If you got a short side on the one side, that's the one you want to be pumping at. Yeah.
That's the one you want to target.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we got 2 games down. First game, England colonized South Africa all over again. Then the shock against Bangladesh. How's South Africa looking right now?
Yeah, I'm sure it must be down, but I think it's for each individual to look at himself, want to improve on his own. As a team, each individual has to improve, and it's India's first game. It's our third game. I'm sure.
How did that happen, by the way?
Yeah,
I mean, most teams have got 2 games down, and India's only a week into the tournament, haven't played yet.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just watching everything, but I'm sure they want to start their campaign off well, so they're going to come out hard. It's not going to be an easy game, but we definitely can beat them.
Do you think there's a complacency that could be sitting into the Indian camp? South Africa's not done very well as of late.
Yeah,
so
no, I doubt it.
I
doubt it. I think it's seeing as their first game, the same like with Bangladesh. It was their first game. They want to hit the World Cup hard. They want to, players that's maybe not. They want to do well, So I think they're going to come really hard at us and see us as a win. So we're going to have to really step it up. Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Just on that, we're going to take a quick commercial break because there are bills to pay. We'll be back soon.
Cricket. Some say it's the fastest or the hardest, even the longest, the cagiest, fuffest, denayest, the briest, duckiest, not that duck, hottest, that is a lot of laws, sometimes the softest, or the loudest.
Is that all you got?
Oh, it's on. Mini cricketist, rivalryist, coachiest. Oh, of course, I haven't forgotten about you over there. It's the supporterist, familiest, summerist, umpirist, scoriest game. Here we go. That's not coming back. Phew. And it's certainly the most South Africanist thing we do. Visit cricket.coza for more.
Good day and welcome back. Our host this evening, Munier Holliday, local legend out in the A-League. We're talking about SA's defeats, the opening 2-game defeats in the World Cup, and looking ahead at India on Wednesday it is. From a South African point of view, a couple of selection headaches for Otis and the boys.
Yeah, well, I think they first got to look at the injury count. I don't know what's the story with Amal. I think he failed the concussion test or something like that.
Hopefully I think it was more precautionary.
Okay.
He was fine on the test,
so hopefully
we're
he's
hoping
back.
to have him back then. Yeah.
Hopefully he's back, and then I'm sure Steyn will be slotted in there if he can play. I think the only decision basically they must look at is whether to play Shamsi or go for another spinner, because the all-out pace attack hasn't worked. We haven't really been looking threatening there at all.
You would go with twin spin?
No, it just depends. I think I'm not sure where they're playing. I don't know how the wicket is or whatever the case may be. But I think, speaking about India specifically, I think, or anyone, I think you want to do some damage early on. You want the new ball bowlers, hopefully Steyn and those guys can remove both opening batsmen, in the power play.
Yeah.
And that can at least give you, put some pressure and get to the middle order as quick as possible. If they get off to a flyer for no loss or for 1 wicket down only, and then it really puts the rest of the bowlers under pressure.
I think that opening partnerships to date, and I know we're very early in the tournament, but that opening partnerships or that any long partnership seems to be very, very telling in this tournament. I also think, and I'd like your thoughts on this, as that batsman, that traditionally your teams like England, Australia, South Africa, we relied heavily on our pace attacks against the subcontinent teams because they weren't used to it.
Yeah.
But these days, it's a different story.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think that's what Faf thought against Bangladesh. And if you look at how many times Ngidi got pulled for 4, it just shows those Hawks they can play the short ball now. And we're not playing at the Wanderers.
Okay, you got the short ball, and they can play it. Why are the bowlers leaving that freaking Yorkers for the death overs only? What's wrong with having it in the middle of an innings when that batsman is running away?
Yeah.
Crash some toes.
Well, I think the problem is they weren't using the Yorker in the that last 5 overs cost us heavily.
Big time. Big
And
time.
yeah, the Yorker's always a good ball for sure. Nowadays it's a slow bouncer, or cutters and all those kind of things. It's all a matter of, it's weird because you pick a whole lot of fast bowlers and then you say now they must bowl cutters and yeah. So maybe, I don't know, Bangladesh was successful in slowing the pace off of the ball. It's difficult if there's no pace to hit the ball. Maybe we must consider that at the expense of one of the seamers. Go with Shamsi and Tahir then.
So which one of the seamers would you drop? For Shamsi.
Well, like if Ngidi is not available and Steyn is not available also, then it's easy. But if Steyn's available, then I don't know. I don't know if Morris did enough to keep his spot.
He was a bit, disappointing.
Yeah, I think his last couple of overs were like more than 10 over, and that's actually what gave them that big score. That last 5 overs.
The last 5 overs took them over the edge.
Yeah.
So okay, let's look at Wednesday's game. Game 3 for SA, game 1 for India. You're sitting in the Indian camp right now, Virat Kohli. You have Rabada going. Virat Kohli is like a little bit of a brat. He can dish it out, but he can't take the abuse. What's that mood like in that game?
Yeah, look at. I'm sure like personal battles are good like that, you know, and especially if you got a player out a couple of times, you know, it's. But what I think at the start of Wednesday's game, it'll be a clean slate. I think we must focus more on you know, trying getting a win under our belt and putting in a really good performance.
Yeah.
And really, stepping it up on all facets of the play, you know.
So just what's going to take for South Africa to skittle India here?
Early wickets. I think early wickets. You don't want them to get off to because they just, you know, they bat so deep and they've got you know, got key players. For me, the best thing always in a one-day game is to have wicket takers, you know, being able to call on a guy like Rabada or Tahir or someone and at the crucial time take a wicket, you know. You don't want Virat to get 100 because then they're going to put up a big score.
So who's your threats in the Indian lineup? Let's look at the bowlers first.
On the bowling side, well, they've got a decent 2 openers. They'll probably go with a tall dude. Don't ask me names, but yeah. They've got decent seamers. They got that Oak that bowls at in swingers, and then they've got a nice mix of spinners, you know. The leggy, he bothered us here when they toured in all the ODIs. He took wickets, that leggy. So I think they've got a decent bowling attack, but I think it's really the batters that's their real strength for me from the Indian side, yeah. And we're gonna have to. Yeah, our strike bowlers will have to strike, basically. You know, we can't. There's so much of a load, I feel, on Tahir, and we expect so much from Imran Tahir, and he produces the goods 9 times out of 10. But the other guys need to
step up.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose that load is not just on Tahir as well. I think there's a huge load on Rabada, and as well as he's been doing.
Yeah.
He's still young.
Yeah.
This is his first World Cup, and to have that pressures.
I think a lot of people are saying this, and one of the key things where we are lacking is a really, really good all-rounder.
Yeah.
If you look as opposed to Hardik Pandya, for example, you know, he's in the top of he's the best form of his life with a bat.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a really quality bowler also, and we got Pretorius, or you know, with Lakwaya, who I just think, you know, the other teams have Ben Stokes, you know, even Bangladesh, that's the #1 all-rounder apparently in the world, you know. So I think, especially in ODI cricket, you know, the times when we had really good all-rounders, that's when we really did well.
So your team for Wednesday against India?
Yeah, I don't think I would so much just take the axe and wield the axe or whatever the case may be, you know. I think everybody knows they had a bad day at the office and it happens, and Bangladesh played well. And yeah, I wouldn't change much there. I think Amla has to come in there on top. I'd like to see Shamsi in the team with Tahir actually against India, and at the expense of Morris, unfortunately. I think Steyn is there because we know he's a wicket taker also. You know, he can strike early, and hopefully his injury doesn't weigh him down and he can play. But the rest of the guys, they're there because, like I said, we know what they can do, you know, and guys like we're depending heavily on the seniors, you know, the guys like Amla and Faf and those guys, they need to step up.
Do you think two all-rounders, or well, three if you got Andile, Morris, and Dwayne at the expense of a Miller? I think Van der Dussen has proven himself. Yeah. He's on form right now. Miller hasn't really, and as you said a little earlier, I'm a huge Miller fan, huge Miller fan. But I also tend to agree. I also tend to agree with you in those moments where we really needed him. We really needed that match winner. He hasn't really produced. Well, it's been a while anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one, but like I said again, do we really have the quality of the all-rounders? You know, can Pretorius offer with a bat that he can? You know, is he a better batsman? Or you know, it's a matter of asking those questions. Andile for me is probably the best of them, although he hasn't really. Let the world alike, but I think he's bowled well so far. He's been one of the better seamers, and he has shown that he can bat. You know, it was
he can.
Yeah, there was a lot of even he hit a low full toss straight to some fielder, so there were a lot of very soft dismissals yesterday.
I think that being said as well, it was great to see, and I suppose it's a positive that you can take is that every one of our batsmen, our recognised batsmen, got starts.
Yeah,
nobody kicked on.
That was
but everybody got that. Everybody got
We
starts.
just needed one guy to score 80 or 100. Definitely, that would have we would have won the game.
Yeah,
definitely. It was good to see JP got a bit of runs. He tried hard there at the end, and while he was there, we still had a chance. Unfortunately,
I think all the way until Morris came in, it was also we're still in.
Yeah,
this.
definitely, because we still got these guys who we know what they can do, and but it just shows scoreboard pressure. When you score 9 runs and over, 10 runs and over, it's not easy. Not easy, because then you must start hitting sixes, you know.
Yeah.
And although these guys can do it, they do it in the IPL, and we just they're not doing it when we want them to.
How about that you bring up another interesting point. I mean, most of these top players in all the teams just come from an IPL.
Yeah.
It was a great IPL. South Africa's two top bowlers in Tahir and Steyn. They had phenomenal IPLs. Faf.
They won it, I think.
They won it, but he's also been scoring with a bat. He's even gone as far as opening for Chennai. And then they come to the World Cup. I know it's a different format, but
different conditions also. Different, you know, the Indian subcontinent versus no excuse though. But I mean, different conditions. It's maybe not 2020 versus the 50-50. 2020 is just gung-ho from the word go. Yeah. Well, that's if you're watching West Indies play. They play like it's a 2020 game. Eh?
But that's that how's it, balls of the wall cricket?
Yeah,
that calypso cricket of back in the 80s.
Yeah, no fear.
So we got about 3.5 minutes left here. USA side. Let's look at your batsmen first. Your opening pair.
The Cock and Amla.
The Cock and Amla coming in at 3.
I'm going to leave it the same, eh?
Markram.
I'm going to leave it the same. Yeah. Well, if Amla plays, I wonder maybe if Markram will make the team, depending how we're going to go. Steyn, I'm working it down from the bottom here now. I'll bring Steyn in definitely. If
No,
Steyn's
we
going to come,
need it,
if
yeah,
Steyn's
we
going to
need
come in
it.
for Ngidi, and I'll replace Morris with Shamsi, and Amla at the top of the order. That's the only changes I'd make. The 3 changes.
Yeah, that leaves us 1 extra batsman, isn't it? So
One must come out.
You got Amla and Kut de Kok.
Yeah.
You got Faf at 3. Markram, what are you doing with him?
No, then
He's been scoring, eh?
where?
He's been scoring runs.
He's got, what's his international? I don't know. I'm not really convinced. I'm not convinced.
He's also had a very good county series now.
He's done well locally and he's done well in Test cricket, but he hasn't lit the world alight in ODIs. So yeah, I'm not convinced. I'd rather than go with JP, Muller, Van der Dussen, Faf. I mean, those guys should score the runs. Those guys should score the runs.
They're the batsmen.
Yeah.
Okay, India.
India, I don't know.
Your words as coach. You got that line to Otis. What is it Otis has got to be saying to the team for the game on Wednesday?
Yeah, like I said, with the batsmen, I think they need to express themselves. And I think any team, no matter how good you are, England, Australia, India, any team, South Africa was proven now against Bangladesh, the minute they get put under pressure, you know, any team, they feel it, you know, and it's about that. From the word go, if we can take sticks up front with the openers and the backup bowlers come in and their lines are good and, you know, Tahir and those, it's about pressure, putting those players under pressure that want to score freely. And we can, basically we must restrict them to a reasonable score. And then of course our batters have to step up. There's, you know, guys like Amla, he has to show that his selection is justified, you know. And like you said, those guys who got starts, we need someone in the top 4 to score 100. Someone in the top 4 has got to score 100, bat through the majority of the innings and the rest, and maybe have a full go in the last 5 overs with your
Mullers and your...
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And then and let's go about it that way.
Thank you again, Munier. It was really awesome having you here, and we hope to see you as the tournament progresses.
It's a pleasure. Great being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. To the SA team, there's such a lot going on in the papers right now. Social media is rife with all the choking memes. My message to you, own it. Wear it proudly. It is what it is. You can't change that. Another World Cup, another couple of spectacular instances happening here. Colonized by the English and then getting our hiding, so to speak, from the Bangladeshis. But own it. You got 7 more games. Do us proud. We'll be back just before the 10th of June talking up the SA West Indies game. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.